My best friend stole my identity to live a luxury life, so I let her keep the debt and the criminal record. They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. But when your best friend of 15 years uses your social security number to open 4 credit cards, lease a Range Rover, and rent a penthouse in Miami, it's not flattery, it's a felony. Sarah always wanted my life. She wanted my career, my clothes, and my credit score. So, when I found out she'd been living as me for 6 months while I was working overseas, I didn't call her. I didn't even block her. I just waited for her to plan her birthday extravaganza, the one she was throwing with my money, to show her that a stolen life comes with a very real price tag. Sarah and I were inseparable. When I got a high-paying contract as a consultant in Dubai, she was the one who drove me to the airport. She offered to watch my mail and keep an eye on my apartment. I thought she was a saint. But 6 months in, I tried to book a flight home and my card was declined. Not because of a glitch, but because I was $150,000 in debt. I logged into my accounts and saw a ghost. Someone was living my life in Miami. They were buying $4,000 handbags, dining at Michelin star restaurants, and posting it all on an Instagram account called @TheRealJewels, my nickname. I scrolled through her feed. There she was, wearing my jewelry in a penthouse I didn't rent, posing with a guy she told her followers was her executive boyfriend. She had blocked my main account, but she didn't know I had a burner. She wasn't just spending my money, she was deleting me. She had changed my mailing address and even filed a lost ID report to get a driver's license with her photo and my name. I could have reported the cards as stolen immediately, but if I did, the bank would just cancel them. Sarah would vanish, and I'd be stuck in a 3-year legal battle to clear my name. Number 1, I needed her caught in the act. I saw her latest post, huge 30th birthday bash at the Gilded Lily, VIP table, everyone's invited. She was planning to drop $20,000 on a single night using my last remaining line of credit. I hopped on a plane. It was time to give her the one birthday present she didn't see coming, a total identity wipe. Scene 2. The VIP takedown focus, the confrontation at the club, the kill command on the finances, and the public unmasking. The club was loud, expensive, and filled with people Sarah wanted to impress. I stood by the bar, watching her at the center table. She was wearing a dress I'd left in my storage unit, drinking champagne that cost more than my first month's rent in Dubai. She looked happy. She looked like she finally believed she was me. I pulled out my phone. I didn't call the police yet. I called the fraud department of the bank. I'd spent the flight providing them with my passport, my Dubai work visa, and a photo of me holding today's newspaper at the airport. I'm at the location now, I told the agent. Flag the transaction the moment it's swiped. Mark it as stolen identity, suspect on premises. I walked up to the VIP section. Sarah was laughing, showing off a new diamond bracelet to her friends. When she saw me, her glass hit the floor. The executive boyfriend looked confused. "J. Jules," she stammered, her face turning a ghostly shade of gray. "What are you doing here? You're supposed to be in the Middle East." "I was," I said, leaning over the table. "But I heard there was a party for the real Jules. I didn't want to miss the moment my life became a crime scene." The waiter arrived with the bill for the night. $22,000. Sarah tried to play it cool. She handed over the black card. My card. "There must be some mistake. Jules is just a nickname," she told her friends, her voice trembling. The waiter swiped the card. The machine didn't just beep. It turned red. 2 security guards, who I'd already briefed with the police outside, stepped into the VIP booth. "Miss, we need you to step away from the table," the guard said. "This card is flagged for grand larceny." Scene 3. The bill comes. Due focus, the arrest, the legal fallout, and the final realization that the luxury was a prison. Sarah tried to run, but in 6-inch heels and a stolen dress, she didn't get far. The police were waiting at the exit. They didn't just arrest her for the bill. They arrested her for the apartment, the car, and the 6 months of federal identity theft. As they led her out in handcuffs, her friends were filming the whole thing. The @TheRealJewels account was deleted within the hour, replaced by a news clip of her mugshot. Because I caught her in the act and had documented every single imposter post, the banks were forced to clear my debt. Sarah, however, wasn't so lucky. Since she had signed the leases and contracts in my name, but with her face on camera, she was hit with aggravated identity theft and schemed to defraud. She called me from jail, crying, asking me to drop the charges. We were sisters, Jules. I just wanted to feel what it was like to be you for a little while. You wanted to be me? I asked. Fine, but being me means paying your own way. Since you can't do that, you can spend the next 5 years being inmate number 4092. I hear the luxury there is very consistent. Sarah wanted my life, so I gave her the only part of it she deserved, the consequences. I got my credit score back. My apartment is being professionally deep cleaned to get the smell of her perfume out, and I'm back in Dubai. People ask me if I feel bad for ruining her life. I tell them I didn't ruin anything. I just stopped her from ruining mine. And honestly, the real me has never felt better. The Gilded Lily was exactly the kind of place Sarah used to dream about when we were broke. All velvet ropes, $20 cocktails, and people who value status over substance. From my spot at the bar, I watched her. She was sitting at the center booth, wearing a dress I'd bought in Milan and laughing with a group of friends who clearly only liked her for the bottle service she was providing with my credit line. She looked radiant. She looked confident. She looked exactly like someone who thought the bill for her life would never come due. I pulled out my phone. I didn't call the police yet. I wanted the bank to do the heavy lifting first. I had already spent the last 6 hours on the phone with the fraud department, sending them GPS log of my location in Dubai and photos of my actual ID. I'm standing 10 feet away from her, I whispered into the phone to the bank's investigator. She's about to close the tab for the night. Flag it the second the transaction hits. Don't just decline it, trigger the stolen card alert on the terminal. Copy that, the agent replied. We're ready when you are. I put my phone away and walked straight toward the VIP section. The bouncer tried to stop me, but I looked him dead in the eye. I'm the woman on the reservation, I said, and the party is over. I stepped into the booth. Sarah was in the middle of a toast, holding a glass of Cristal. When our eyes met, her hand shook so hard the champagne slopped over the side of the glass. The executive boyfriend looked at me, then at her. Jules? Sarah gasped, her voice cracking. What are you doing here? You're in Dubai. You're supposed to be at the project site. The project ended early, Sarah, I said, leaning over the table and picking up her abandoned glass. But it looks like your project, the one where you pretend to be me, is just getting started. How's my penthouse? Does the Range Rover drive as smooth as the commercials say? The table went dead silent. Her friends started looking at each other. I don't know what you're talking about, Sarah hissed, trying to regain her footing. You're making a scene. You're drunk. Security. Just then, the head server arrived with the bill, a cool $22,500 for the night. He handed it to Sarah. She grabbed my black card from her clutch, the card with my name on it, and handed it over with a trembling hand. Just run it, she told the server. Ignore her. The server swiped the card. A high-pitched, piercing beep echoed from the handheld terminal. A bright red message flashed across the screen. Fraud detected. Confiscate card. Call police. The server's face went stone cold. He looked at the card, then at the stolen alert, then at Sarah. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to step away from the table, he said, signaling to 2 large security guards who had been waiting in the wings. There's a mistake, Sarah shrieked, her voice rising to a frantic pitch. That's my card. I'm Jules. Tell them Jules. I just smiled and pulled my actual passport out of my bag, holding it up for the entire table to see. Actually, I'm Jules. And that card? That's my identity you've been burning through. But don't worry, Sarah. The police are outside. I hear they have a very exclusive room waiting for you. The flashing blue lights of the Miami PD units cut through the neon glow of the club entrance. Sarah was let out in handcuffs, still wearing my Milanese dress, her face a smeared mess of expensive mascara and cheap desperation. Her executive boyfriend and the friends she'd bought with my credit limit were busy filming the arrest on their phones, laughing and tagging the very account she'd used to erase me. As the officers pushed her toward the back seat of the cruiser, she locked eyes with me. Jules, please! I was going to pay it back. I just wanted one summer to feel like I mattered. You mattered, Sarah, I said, standing on the sidewalk as the rain began to fall. You just mattered more to the fraud department than you did to me. The next 48 hours were a whirlwind of paperwork, but for the first time in months, I was the one holding the pen. Since I had caught her in the act and provided the GPS data from Dubai, the banks were forced to move the $150,000 debt into a fraudulent liability category. I didn't stop there. I went to the penthouse she'd rented in my name. I watched as the sheriff's department served the eviction notice. I watched as they hauled out the $40,000 in designer bags and jewelry she'd accumulated. Because they were bought with stolen funds, they were seized as evidence. Sarah hadn't just lost her luxury life. She had left herself with absolutely nothing. No apartment, no car, and since she'd quit her real job to play influencer, no income. The court date was 6 months later. Sarah sat at the defense table, looking haggard and small. Without the high-end makeup and the borrowed lifestyle, she looked like a stranger. Because she had forged a federal ID and crossed state lines with the stolen Range Rover, the judge wasn't lenient. "You didn't just steal money, Ms. Harris," the judge said, peering over his glasses. "You attempted to systematically dismantle another human being's existence for your own vanity." The sentence: 4 years in federal prison and a restitution order that would garnish her wages for the next 20 years. They say you don't know who your friends are until things get tough. I found out mine was a ghost who tried to haunt my bank account. Sarah wanted to be the real Jules, so I let her keep the one thing that was truly hers: the consequences. I'm back in Dubai now, my credit score is higher than ever, and I changed all my passwords to something she'll never guess: honesty. I still check that Instagram handle sometimes. It's been deleted, but the memory remains. A reminder that a life built on someone else's foundation will always, eventually, come crashing down.